Hello everyone, welcome to iExamB. The SEBI Grade A exam for 2023 is coming soon. The notification is expected almost in a week, and this video is going to talk about the exam pattern so that you are ready and understand the exam pattern and are not wasting time once the notification is out. So watch this video till the end to understand the weightages of various papers in both the phases and how the exam pattern will proceed till the final selection. The expected date of the exams is January 28 to 29, 2023, and your phase 2 is expected to be around 24th or 25th of February. So these are your expected dates of the exam. The notification is expected in the month of December itself, which leaves you with almost 50 days only to prepare for your phase 1 exam. Right? So what is phase 1, what is phase 2, how the exam is conducted, that is what I will be discussing. Before I move to tell you about the exam pattern, as I stated, there are 50 days left. iExamB has prepared a 50-day study plan which we started from the 1st of December to help you prepare holistically for SEBI Grade A. And if you want to be a part of it, the other good news is that the course is as of now available at a flat 57% off. You can use the code SEBI57. So let's understand the exam pattern and so the selection process. The selection process consists of 3 phases. Your phase 1, which is qualifying in nature, your phase 2, which carries 85% weightage in your final selection, and then we have the phase 3, which is the interview stage, which has a 15% weightage in your final selection. So your final selection will be based on the performance in phase 2 and your interview in this manner. However, phase 1 is very important because until you qualify that, you will not be allowed to sit for phase 2. So what is included in these 3 phases? Under phase 1, you have 2 papers. There are 2 papers. Your first paper is an aptitude paper in which 4 subjects come: QRE, which stands for Quant, Reasoning and English, and General Awareness with focus on financial awareness. There is paper 2 consisting of 6 subjects: Commerce and Accountancy, Finance, Costing, Companies Act, Economics and Management. When you go to phase 2, again you have to give 2 papers. Your paper 1 consists of Descriptive English. This paper is a typed paper that you type with the help of keyboard, and it has a 1/3 weightage. Then paper 2, which is same as this paper that you have given in phase 1 also. Here its weightage is 2/3. So there is a lot of importance of this particular paper. Exactly what and how the pattern is, we will keep discussing it further. And then your interview stage happens, where you have a interview with the interview panel if you move to this interview stage, and then the final, your marks are collated. So this is the selection process at SEBI. Now let's discuss in detail phase wise how things happen. So phase 1, this is the paper 1, as I told you. So yes, there will be 100 marks paper happens. This consists of 80 questions with 20 questions from each of the 4 segments. Which are the 4 segments? You have your general awareness, which includes questions related to financial sector. So this is your first. Then you have English language. This becomes your second. Then quantitative aptitude, and fourth is your test of reasoning. These are 60 minutes that are given to you. The good part is, although there are 20 questions each from these 4 subjects, there is no sectional cutoff, right? What we mean by no sectional cutoff is that you need to cumulatively get marks from this 100 and not from each of these 4 particular subjects. Then we have the paper 2, which is specific to various streams. I will specifically talk about the general stream today. However, SEBI conducts for various other streams like legal, IT, official language, research. Research is related to economics, vacancies and research vacancies. So different vacancies have their own different paper. However, paper 2 is specific to their subject knowledge. and it will be a 40 minutes paper of 100 marks. This consists of 50 questions of 2 marks each, right? There's also negative marking of 1/4, right? So if there's an incorrect question, you have a negative marking of 1/4 weightage. So in case of 2-mark question, it becomes a half a mark. In case of 1 mark or 1.25, this will be actually 1.25 marks per question, so 1/4 of that, right? So this is how the structure of the exam is, and this is how the questions come. Now within this, the 50 questions, these 50 questions, if I'm talking about the general stream, they can come from any of these 6 subjects, and not specifically, there is no equal weightage or division. However, from experience, they are more or less equal number of questions. So from each segment, somewhere around 6 to 9 questions from each segment, in this range, from each of these subjects is usually coming from the past trend. However, like as in paper 1, we have a exact distribution of questions from each of the subjects. Like that, we do not have in paper 2. It can be a mixture of any of these topics. As I again repeating, usually from the past trend, we have seen somewhere around 6 to 9 questions from each of these subjects to come. If I talk about the cutoff, what happens at the cutoff in the phase 1? The cutoff is generic cutoff in phase 1. So SEBI is the only exam that gives such a lenient generic cutoff for phase 1 for the qualifying phase. This is the qualifying phase, and this is a very lenient. That means in paper 1 you need to get 30%. In paper 2 you need to get 40%. So only this much if you get, you can move to phase 2. There's one more condition, which is aggregate cutoff. That means a combination of both these papers. What this means is, if you get 30% from in paper 1, which is 100 marks paper, so if you get 30 in paper 1 and 40% in paper 2, which means 40 in paper 2, the total is 70. However, the aggregate cutoff should be 40%, which means 40% of both the papers total 200, which gives you 80 marks. So you actually need to get 80 marks, subject to getting at least 40% in paper 2 and 30% in paper 1. That means you need to either get this, or say if you get 30, then this, or any other combination that gives you at least 80 marks in aggregate, given the fact that you have at least 30 and 40 here. So let me give you another scenario. Say if you end up getting 29 over here, okay, and you get 55 over here. So although in aggregate you are getting 84, you will still not qualify for phase 1 because you have missed the cutoff for paper 1, right? So that is what is the importance. Minimum 30 in paper 1, minimum 40 in paper 2, and minimum 80 overall as a combination of these two. So this is the generic cutoff that you have to follow. Okay, so like you can see, as I said, this is a generic cutoff. So anybody who qualifies these 3 conditions can move on to phase 2. And this you can see from this data of the last 2 recruitment cycles at SEBI that was done in 2020 and then in 2022, where you can see a large number of students had qualified for and cleared phase 1, and they were eligible to write phase 2 against 80 vacancies, right? This is because of the generic cutoff. Moving on to the next phase, the phase 2. The phase 2 again has 2 papers, as I mentioned in the beginning. There is paper 1, which is your descriptive English paper, and this paper is testing your drafting and writing skills. This consists, it's a 100-mark paper. It consists of 3 questions. One is an essay. When you're giving enough choice, there will be 4 topics that are given to you, and you have to write an essay on only any one of them. Okay, then there is a Prachi and then a reading comprehension. So these 3 questions are there which you have to attempt, and it's of 100 marks. You get 1 hour, and this is a keyboard using typed paper, so you have to type with the help of a keyboard. Then there is the paper 2. Again, this is same syllabus and pattern as your phase 1. There is 100 marks, 50 questions of 2 marks each. Again, there is a negative marking of 1/4 in this paper. This is specific to the different streams that you are giving the paper from. This is again 40 minutes you get to attempt this. Now, if I talk about more about the weightage, as I was telling, here the papers have a weight. So descriptive English has a 1/3 weight and paper 2 has a 2/3 weightage. What we mean by this is that, say for example, these are the marks of the All India Rank 1 holder. So if the person got 58 in paper 1, this paper 1 out of 100, and got 83 out of 100 in paper 2, these will then be scaled down. The total out of 200 will be scaled down to 100, but the scaling down will be done in a 1/3 and 2/3 weightage. So this 58 becomes 19.33, 1/3, and this 83 will be taken as 2/3, which is 55.33, and then the total is coming out of 100. So this is how the weightage calculation is done for your marks out of 100 for phase 2 written exam. Right now, if I talk about the cutoff, right, so there is a minimum cutoff criteria that is required. Okay, minimum cutoff criteria is that you need to get at least 30% marks in paper 1, at least 40% marks in paper 2, and in aggregate at least 50%. So similar to as what we were doing in phase 1. However, in phase 1 the aggregate was 40, here the aggregate is 50%. Right, but this is minimum. This is not a generic cutoff. Unlike in phase 1, which was a generic cutoff and anybody who gets that is eligible to write phase 2, here this is minimum, and after this a merit list is created, and this merit list is based on the number of vacancies and how many times you will be called. So let me tell you about the cutoff first. The cutoff in the last 3 recruitment cycles that have taken place, the written 2 exam out of 100, this is out of 100, the cutoff had been 64 marks, 66, and then last year it was 62.34. So somewhere above 60 has definitely been the cutoff for phase 2. What I was telling, but you will be subject to be called for interview or the final stage based on merit. So there is no generic cutoff. However, there is this minimum cutoff criteria that I have already discussed based on the weightages applied of 50%. But subject to this, the candidates of 3 times the number of vacancies will be shortlisted based on merit for the interview. So not everybody who is getting these will be there. We do have a merit based cutoff created based on the 3 times the number of vacancies. So again, showing you and sharing you the data. These many had cleared phase 1, which was high because of the generic cutoff. But now at phase 2 level, when we apply the cutoff, this is merit based, right? So based on merit, 3 times the vacancy. So you can say approximately for 80 vacancies, around 240 candidates had been shortlisted for the interview stage. So when you move to the interview stage, this is the last stage for your selection process. The phase 2 marks that you had got an 85% weightage, and your interview will have 15% weightage. What this means is, if you will remember, the written exam cutoffs were 62.34, 66 and 64. However, for the calculation of the final cutoff, these will be scaled down to 85%. So this would actually be equivalent to 52.99, 56.1 or 54.40. And then we add to this the interview marks out of 15, which gives you the final cutoff. So final cutoff of SEBI in the last 3 recruitment cycles has been 64.82, 69.24 before that, and 69. So last year the cutoff had actually come down as compared to the previous 2 recruitment cycles. These I am discussing for the general stream. So that's all. That is all the details related to your exam pattern. I hope you have understood it well and will accordingly put in your energies and strategize to maximize your chances of getting into SEBI in 2023. So thank you and all the best. And before I end, let me also tell you about the Concepts Padhayenge and Sabko Sikhayenge series that we are doing on our YouTube channel, where we are discussing important economic, banking and financial concepts. And in the month of December, because of the upcoming exam of SEBI, we will be focusing on concepts which are helpful for SEBI exam. We are going to discuss about IPO, algo trading, equity and debt, green shoe option, monopoly, time value of money, inflation index, bonds, social stock exchange, ADRs and GDRs, Nifty and Sensex, REITs and InvITs, and giffen goods and inferior goods. So these are the topics and concepts that we will be discussing, which will be very, very helpful for your SEBI exam. So don't forget to start your preparation on time. The notification is coming very, very soon, and the expected date of exam is the last week of January 2023. Thanks everybody. Prepare 50% faster with iExamB. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.